Hello everybody, welcome to That's Football. I'm Mark Goldbridge and this is your latest football transfer news, and we're going to start off with an absolutely massive story involving Manchester United's Alejandro Ganacho and two big Premier League clubs being interested. It's coming in from Tier 1 Argentinian source Gaston Edel, who Liverpool fans may remember breaking the Alexi McAllister story a couple of years ago. We've also got a few Here We Goes going on, and we've got a few other bits of stories going on, as well as what I would like to call Goldbridge Corner, where we talk about a player that may not be as fashionable as they used to be, but are still playing the game. Their name's Jack Grealish. He might be going to Everton. We'll talk about that. But let's hit this story. So, Ganacho is wanting to stay in the Premier League, and two of the three Premier League clubs interested in him are Arsenal and Chelsea. This is coming from Gaston Edel, who is widely considered to be a highly reliable journalist when it comes to Argentinian-related football news, and often referred to as Tier 1 or most reliable for his coverage of that area of football. And guess what? Ganacho's Argentinian. Start the debate. I view Alejandro Ganacho, or Ganacho, as a little bit like Anakin Skywalker in Star Wars. Now, I'm not going to say he's a backstabber who, literally turned on his best mate, Obi-Wan. I don't know what he does in his private life, but I know what Anakin does because I've seen the films. But what I mean is, there is good in Ganacho. 100%. There is good. And he definitely has a talent. And it's about bringing the good out of him. And I think he should go to Napoli and play under Conte, because I think that will do that. But there seems to be a continuing story that he wants to stay in the Premier League, which is odd. I would have thought he would want to get away from the British press. But if he wants to stay in the Premier League, maybe it's because he feels that the Premier League is intense and quick and it's the best place for him to develop as a player because he's still only 20. I'm telling you now, Arsenal fans, Chelsea fans might be going, no thank you, no thank you. As a Man United fan, I've got no interest in, saying take him so that we get the money, because he'll go Napoli. I think, genuinely, if he goes to Arsenal, he'd be a really good player. He's only 20 years of age. He needs a bit of discipline. He needs a bit of guidance. I think he'd be a really good player. I have said at Man United for the last 3 years that he's the player with the highest ceiling. Now, maybe recently you might want to change that. A lot of people would say Ahmad and Mainu and other people, but I think he's a fantastic talent. I think he's lost his way. I think he's got to look at himself as well, massively for that, and probably doesn't suit Amorim's system. But we as Man United fans and a club can't start going, he's not going to Arsenal, he's not going to Chelsea. If we don't want him and he wants to stay in the Premier League, then he's got every right to dig his heels in and go, if there's interest from Arsenal and Chelsea, I want to go there. And if United say you're not going there, then you just sit back and go, fine, let's wait it out then, because I'm not going anywhere else. So could be a very interesting story. I'm not so sure about Chelsea, to be honest. I think Chelsea's turnover of wingers is a bit too fast. But if Arteta wants you at Arsenal, I think there'll be Arsenal fans saying no. As a Man United fan, I'm saying there's a bloody good player there, and he's really cheap. He's really cheap at 40 million. I know there'll be add-ons, but 20 years of age, 40 million quid, I understand why he's leaving Man United. I understand why Amorim wants to move him on, but I don't think it would be a bad buy for anybody else. Anyway, we move on. What week are we going to have in relation to other deals? Look, there's still stuff about this morning. There's still stuff this afternoon about Real Madrid hoping that they can get Zubimendi and talk about Wirtz. I just think it's complete and utter nonsense. Zubimendi will go to Arsenal. Wirtz will go to Liverpool. It's just about when, not if, as far as I'm concerned. I think the more interesting deals are what's going to happen with the Liverpool attacker that they're looking at. It's gone a bit quiet on Ekitike, and when and if Liverpool are going to get Sesko. There's still talks going on with Sesko. Arsenal not in a rush. They're not in the Club World Cup. They're not back in pre-season for 3 weeks. But apparently there's going to be another round of talks re-Sesko. And I think the transfer window has been very interesting so far, and I think it will continue to be interesting. But when you think about it, there's not really a mad rush for anybody unless you were playing in the Club World Cup. Chelsea obviously are, but Arsenal, Liverpool aren't. So they still have got all of June to get this deal done. These deals done. I think for Chelsea it's more interesting because I know they've got Liam Delap, but have they got anybody else ahead of the Club World Cup which they're going to play in? Whereas you look at Man City, I think Reinders is going to come in. Cherki's on his way over, so they're getting deals done. Here we go. Cherki has basically been done, hasn't it? I think Fabrizio already did it. So, yeah, Man City are getting some of their business done as well. But I think Liverpool and Arsenal will obviously carry on doing the deals at their pace, and we've got to remember that it's only the 9th of June. And I certainly think that won't make any difference to what they're doing with the likes of Wirtz and Sesko and Zubimendi, etc. Talking about Chelsea, Gittins is still a player from Dortmund that they're looking at. I think they have to register them tomorrow if they want them to play in the Club World Cup. Doesn't mean they can't buy players after that, but you know, I think one player that's really interesting actually is Victor Osimhen. I'd love to know your comments on this as a general football topic. Expected to go to Saudi, has turned it down, and has therefore put himself in a position where he's willing to talk to lots of clubs. Galatasaray are interested. The release clause is 63 million. Obviously, it's not all about the money because he could have just took that money in Saudi. So where is he looking to go to now? Could that be in the Premier League? I know a lot of Man United fans would like Osimhen, but we're focused on Gyökeres at the moment. I think I've always felt that Chelsea, Osimhen for 3 years. I don't know whether I'm missing the point here, but I've always, you know, when you look at something from the outside in and you go, you know, Liverpool midfield needed rebuilding, Klopp did it. Chelsea goalkeeper, striker, Arsenal striker. But more than that with Chelsea, I've always thought Victor Osimhen. For 3 years, Victor Osimhen, he's the striker that will take you to the next level, and they just don't seem to be interested in it. And it's weird to me because he's obviously going to go somewhere, and it'd be such a waste if he just ends up at Galatasaray, and that's no disrespect to Galatasaray. That would be an amazing signing for them, but I think he's good enough to play in the Premier League or PSG or somewhere like that. I think he'll end up at PSG, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. One player that is not going to end up at PSG is Jack Grealish. One of the strangest careers to sort of dissect, really. Jack Grealish, still only 29, feels like he retired 2 years ago. Went to Man City, won a treble, had one decent season, and has then just fell off. And at Villa, what a player. I don't know whether it's off-field antics, you know, inconsistency, whatever. But look, it's that old balance, really, isn't it? He can walk away with huge money and trophies, which he never would have won at Villa. But I think if he'd stayed at Villa, he'd have been a better player. I don't know what the right choice is, but the way he played football at Villa, I loved watching him. The way he played football at Man City, I couldn't be arsed. But he made a load of money and he won a load of trophies. And it's about what makes him happy at the end of the day. I just think it's a waste of a talent that I used to see him be put on the bench by Southgate at Villa, and I'd be demanding that he starts. I don't want Grealish anywhere near an England team anymore. And it's just such a shame because he was such a talented player. But I mean, I'm not saying he was a Gaza or anyone like that or a Rooney, but I do think Pep and himself, he's got to look at himself, but Pep totally took the fire out of his game. And the funny thing is, I've said it a few times on my career mode over the years, he'll end up at Everton. That's where he'll end up. And lo and behold, he's been linked to Everton. Because I don't really know where he would go. But I actually think for Everton, it would be a smart deal. When you look at what he did at Villa, you know, he seemed to thrive in a team where he was the star. If he can reignite that spark, we might see the old Grealish again. But it's an interesting one anyway. Okay, thank you everyone for watching. Lots to get into there. What are your thoughts on Ganacho to Arsenal or Chelsea? What are your thoughts on Osimhen and where he could end up? Lots of other things I mentioned in there as well. And Grealish. Yeah, 3 big topics to get into and a few others. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Smash a like on the video. I'll speak to you on the next one. Thanks for watching. Yeah, that's football with me.